7:01. All right, good evening. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and not to be considered a public community meeting. There's time for public participation during the meeting as indicated in the agenda. Upon request of the superintendent, the district shall make reasonable accommodation for a person with disabilities to be able to participate in this meeting. I will call this meeting to order. Hopefully you do the roll call.
Mr. Aldridge?
Here.
Mr. Arnold?
Here.
Mrs. Ruderly? Here. Mrs. Greatorex?
Here.
Ms. Angus? Here. Mr. Lundy? Mr. Ware? Here. Ms. Bradley? Mr. Watson?
Here.
All right. Moving on to the next item on the agenda is the meeting minutes. An appropriate motion might be, sorry, this is for the approval of the meeting minutes from February 5th, 2024. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of approving the meeting minutes from February 5th, 2024 as presented, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All right, we'll move on to the approval of the agenda. Board policy provides that the superintendent of schools shall prepare an agenda for all board meetings as directed by the president of the Board of Education.
Second.
Get it.
Okay.
Who won? Who won?
Melanie waiting up, right?
All right, all right. All right. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of approving the agenda as presented, say aye.
Aye.
All right, it has been approved. We'll move on to our school presentations. Starting off with our shining star, custodian Neil Steinball is recognized for his stellar work. Neil is a custodian for the Dexter Community Schools and is also the H.S. Bologna's class of 2005 and the parent of 3 current dreadnoughts. Neil's work is exemplary. He pays great attention to detail, pays attention to the big picture, and is always ready to pitch in wherever help is needed. The director of facilities, Brian Schillers, had this to say: Neil always puts 100% effort. He has a great effort and treats everyone with respect and kindness. He is always willing to step up and help whenever and when it is needed. Neil came to our attention through the following nice job note from the district administrator. I want to give a shout out to Neil Steinbach. Neil is a true shining star for Dexter schools. He not only ensures Mill Creek is clean and ready for each day for the students and staff, but he also puts in countless overtime hours. He trains new staff, is collaborative in his role as DESPA president, and takes pride in making sure our DCS facilities shine. Neil is a role model of a DCS employee. He is kind. His kindness, professionalism, work ethic, and team player mentality make him one of our best. Thank you, Neil, for all you do and give to Dexter Community School. Thank you. We've got a little certificate for you if you want to say a couple words. It's not necessary.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice work.
We have to say Neil is a true. He's a great employee, he's a great person. And we're just blessed to have him.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Moving on, our next school presentation is for the Dexter dance team for their to recognize them. On Saturday, February 3rd, 2024, the Dexter varsity dance team plays 6th in the medium varsity game day division 2 at Universal Dance Association UVA National Championships in Orlando, Florida. The district invited the team to perform at a board meeting and to be recognized for this achievement, but the team has regular commitments on Monday evenings and are unable to attend. We will be sharing a video of one of their routines in lieu of a live performance, although that would be fun. Hearty congratulations to seniors Anna Kovarik, Dana Kulas, and Kayla Wiseman, juniors Delaney Bachman, Ruby Boynton, Lauren Hart, Jenna Lankowski, Ella Nelson, and Sarah Sawin. Sophomores Ella Jensen, Allie Oden, sorry, and Ainsley Ramsberg, and freshman Kat Most. All right.
2 minutes. Second. Best answer.
It's gonna get alright tonight. Gonna be alright. Gonna be. It's in my forever. I am the one I want you to follow. Want you to follow. I know you're not. You'll leave me behind. We'll leave a bit more time. Alive without you.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. We'll move on to our first opportunity of public participation. During public comment, each speaker is allotted a maximum of 5 minutes for a total of 30 minutes unless otherwise notified. Each speaker will be asked to announce his, her, their name and district residence and indicate if he, she, they represent any organization or agency. No person may speak more than once on the same subject for a single meeting. Those wishing to receive a personal response from the board or superintendent must complete a public comment form available at the meeting entrance and on our website. In addition, as presiding officer, I would like to remind everyone that public comments should pertain to the Dexter Community School District matters and concerns related to the operation of the schools or matters to the board, matters within the authority of the board. Those who wish to speak shall direct all comments to the board and not to staff or other participants. Also, speakers addressing the board shall take into consideration rules of common courtesy. Speakers who make attacks of a personal nature and or who do not abide by the rules of common courtesy will be reminded of such rules by the board president or presiding officer. Such individuals may be asked to leave the meeting if their behavior is disruptive or interferes with orderly progress of the meeting. Also, please understand that the board members do not respond to public comments, but we will listen very carefully and will follow up as appropriate. If there's immediate need for clarification, we will do so after the speaker's allotted time. If you have one green sheet, did you want to speak or did you just have the question? Okay. All right. Any other commenters? Public comment going once, twice? All right, we'll move on to our administrative and board updates, starting with superintendent.
We have a series of updates that we can do and then just propose that we are just went up to high school students and staff. Parents, we have a series of new scheduling opportunities that special courses offered to kids for next fall. We've already done the course request, but we didn't have a chance to, take some other courses, depending what you vote on in the next couple of weeks, but we can always. So we worked out a partnership with Washington Community College for new courses that we can offer for high school students at the high school during the school schedule. And then the partnership with the Wellness Center, and then some other course offerings. So the new courses going to be able to offer is Washington Community College ACS 111 College Success Seminar. Doing this in a couple formats. We have for the early middle college, we used to do what we call the summer bridge program. But for our kids, they were conflicting because it was 4 to 6 weeks, and it was conflicting with band camps, sports camps, etc. It worked out with Washington Community College to let us offer this on our A and B rotation during the school day first semester for our kids in the early middle college. And since we're already going to offer it, we can offer another section for any high school student that wants to take it. And we have several of our staff that meet qualifications to actually teach as an adjunct. Then intro to health science cluster for kids that want to explore the health sciences. So these are all one credit classes, so it has a degree and they go together. So healthcare terminology, healthcare exploration, CPR, AED, and first aid. That would be in one semester. And then Dexter Wellness Center class, which would actually be possible for the Wellness Center. And we have the classes already, it's one we offer, we just need to, but they could actually sign as if you went to the Wellness Center. So now we can actually do it at the Wellness Center. Well, maybe. And then debate. We've always had debate on the books, but it used to be like this rotation, and it didn't fall off the rotation. So we'd like to offer debate again, and then drama performance. The state changed certifications slightly. So now Mrs. Palmer, who is our drama director, can actually teach drama class, which is great. So we'll have kids that want to take that. So there's a video that went out to high school students and parents that explained all the courses. That was a quick overview. It's a one semester. That's not how it's just basically. So it's one semester. And then, but it allows us to offer some offerings to our kids, and they have to fill out a form that say what on their alternates, what they don't want. We can fill the schedule. It's a good opportunity for kids since we couldn't have offered the Wellness Center class. We didn't have the enrollment figured out yet, Washington. So by November, but we had it now. So it gives some opportunities.
Make the drop.
No. It is a one semester class. There's no prerequisites. And really, as a former debate teacher, that was one of my favorite classes. I had kids that did 2016, but I like to semester debate. So, and drama, we have hundreds of kids in drama. We have one section right now with this. So that's kind of exciting. Other things we have, this is the most exciting thing. So I'm going to say really plain, the only reason a K-12 public school district exists is to get a kid graduated with a diploma. That's why we're here. Everything else we do is just to get them there. And they just released last year's the group's 4-year graduation rate, and we had 99% of our students graduated within 4 years. Even bigger, we had 97% of our students with disabilities graduate in 4 years, which has got to be one of the highest in the state of North. So, in perspective, in 2013 to 14-ish, those classes, our 4-year graduation rate was 89%. So that was 30 kids that didn't graduate on time. And what has happened is adult programs have disappeared. If you don't get a diploma within the 4 years, it's hard to function in today's society. So the thing that we've been able to do is brought the four-year graduation rate up from 89% to 99% over this last 10 years or so. And we brought the students with disabilities, special education students, that number was around 50%. 2013. We brought that to 97%. And we have some of the highest test scores. So we've kept that high level of performance and graduated, which would really, when you look at the county, there are some high schools that are close, they're 94, 95, but if you look at their district percent, they're just shoveling them off to other programs. We have at Alt Ed, where we have our Alt Ed staff right back there.
One of them, I got a team, I have
We
an
have a
amazing team.
team, full of miracles. And helping kids get personalized options, and helping them finish. And we get them finished in school. So it's really a collective effort. And joke today during a meeting on, would you rather, do you love to win or do you hate to lose? And collectively, I think we hate to lose. So we're not celebrating a win, we hate to lose. We have one kid not finish. Get really close. We'll really celebrate. It's gonna happen. It's gonna get fun. Last couple of things. The schools of choice window goes for another day or two. We have about 55 applicants. It ends, what's the date? It ends Wednesday. We had the polar plunge Wednesday. We are $600 off. Close. And the district, we had a $10,000 goal. So we're at 90, last night was 9,400. So we're close. And then virtual kindergarten and young fives info night is tomorrow at 7. And then the open house for the deck is March 5th from 5:30 to 7. So we'll have, that's awesome. Like what, all of you remember walking in. It's kind of cool and it goes really fast. So every year at commencement, I talk to parents, they're like, I still remember going over this. They remember it. All right, Craig, you got solar and bond.
There you go. So it was one of my favorite nights of the year was going kindergarten. I love that. That was fun. So we're rolling. So the board you all approved about 6 weeks ago, I think, about $8 million, $6 million worth of bond projects that happen here in the district. So we are fully in and rolling. So you may have seen out there, I'll talk through some of these. Melanie McIntyre has done great about putting some different bond projects out to make them visible to what is happening for our community that's out there. Right? Kind of let people know what projects are happening out there. So right now I can say if we stick just with the bond projects, so building automation systems, I guess that would be probably better if I go through here. So Dexter High School, there's lots of different things happening, right? So we're on target for the media center this year. It's getting revamped, a whole new learning space as far as new learning furniture. It's going to be divided into 2 learning spaces. It's going to kind of refresh really our media center space at Dexter High School. Not only that, there'll be some areas in between that's out in that hallway and in the courtyard there. So that's going to get a really fresh, that is going to be all set. They'll be in over spring break to get measurements, make sure things. We're actually meeting there tomorrow, myself and representatives from the electrical company Granger, just to verify a few things there. We're also going to we're on target now for additional seating in the hallway. So lockers that nobody's using, we were able to, enough within our bond, what the budget was, remove the lockers and put all these learning spaces all the way first floor, second floor, third floor. It's going to be awesome. Great spaces. That's kind of that visual right there you see to the left that's going to happen right as well. We're also actually over spring break, so our sprinkler suppression system's in. We're going to start replacing heads and that work at Dexter High School. They want to come in over spring break, say, you got it. We're going to first start our target in the gym and the cafeteria, kind of get those big spaces knocked out and out of the way. And I'll tell you a little bit of a reason why we're going to start there a little bit later in my conversations. And then we're going to plan on, we're looking right now, actually when I close a window and open a window, we have a plan because we have things that happen over the summer too. We have a Michigan virtual conference. We have, so make sure stuff is done in the area. So there's lots of planning, lots of organization of how things flow to make sure the work is done in a good order that happens. There's also going to be some door work. Yeah.
Speaking of doors, silly idea. So the place damage first, maybe I ought to say, was about looking at what But that sounds like kids. Stuff.
There are doors that are damaged that need to be replaced. So you can say anything like,
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. They forget that they have hands.
I don't know.
so,
When you see it, when it sounds like kids. Yeah. I appreciate it.
point taken. Point taken. So that work's gonna be getting done at the Dexter High School there as well. Wiley, the biggest work at Wiley, so there's two big works actually happening at Wiley, so the big one is the pool, one of the big ones is the pool. The pool mid-May, as soon as seasons are done, the pool is getting shut down, and there's a big chunk of work that's getting done. It's planned to be done that second week of August, so whole new filter system out, we're gonna remove a door, make it bigger, redo the sand and filter pit. Really just kind of do some good and much needed upgrades to the pool if there's a Wiley pool. We're also doing work with the automation system. So Creekside, Dexter High School, and Wiley were our systems, right? HVAC, thermostats, all that work being done. Metro Controls actually started today. So they said, we can start today, we can do everything second shift. Not any additional costs, everything that's up in the ceilings that's gone. So right now, from now till school starts, they're gonna be pulling wire ready to go. So as soon as teachers are out of rooms, they can start dropping thermostats and get us ready to roll. So they actually started today on the automation system that's there. The big primary switch unit that's behind Wiley is gonna plan on that summer of next summer. Plan on that for next summer, just the switch gear's not in. So if the components magically showed up, we do it this summer, but we know that that's not gonna be here when they get done this summer. Creekside again, that's the building automation system that's happening. We have a bank of windows that are just cracked and beat up, we're gonna replace those as well, so that'll be done as soon as school gets out. Again, they'll start working on that automation system as well. At Creekside, Jenkins, the roof, we're just planning when it's a good window, when we have the weather, because Jenkins kind of runs year round as it is. So once we get a good window, we'll coordinate with their staff and get out in about 2 weeks for them to get the Jenkins roof taken care of. Mill Creek, again, it's interior, exterior doors there, replacement of making it work. So this was a great general one that Melanie sent out for the district. She has been sending 2 specific ones, like another one here for Dexter High School. And I think the other one is for Wiley. So she's doing a great job of keeping things upgraded for the community, just kind of inform them and let them know, what is happening here in our school. So I think it's a great way just to keep refreshing knowing for you, but for the community as well. So on top of all the bond projects that are happening, other things happening right now, if you go up Dan Boy, you'll see that the solar field is done. The panel, yeah, because it was broken. So once that comes in, they'll come back in and put it. They had one broken panel, which is an easy spot for them to tear it out and replace it. They were ready to keep rolling to go to the solar walkway. We told them no, because in order to start the walkway, they had to drill 12 foot deep by 36-inch wide holes with concrete. I didn't want that when kids get out there for the bus up, so spring break time. So they put pause on it, so the work that will happen over spring break. They'll drill the hole, set the cement for the pilings. They're also gonna do the boring. They have to basically bore at T5, which is across the Wiley playground. So that's gonna happen over spring break as well. Just so when kids aren't around, by the time the kids come back, the boring will be done, they'll be hooked in, and all the work can be out in front of the bus. So that work's gonna continue as soon as spring break happens. Mike has gotten bids. We're getting a whole new high school floor, the high school basketball court, the gym is getting sanded, all new lines put on it, and all that set down, set and ready to go as well. There's a couple other projects happening around this summer. We're gonna fill in that concrete patch in front of the high school where the old bushes were. That's gonna be concreted over, we're looking at the band orchestra, music rooms, doing something different with those floors to be done as well. So lots of things layered in, what's going on with the bond work. So we're being very thoughtful. Greg Brandt from Granger, Alex Lewis, who now is our assigned contractor manager for our project. We're really being very thoughtful, like I said, with the community at athletics. How do we layer everything to make sure it happens? That's possible. A lot of stuff happened. Any questions, let me know. I'm happy to walk you around, show you what's going on. Everyone, finding stuff, you always find stuff.
It's tunnel.
Yeah, we could. All right.
Thanks for keeping on track and making it sound work.
words, we'll keep rolling. It is a lot, but we're getting there. It's fun. It's fun. It's just, it's a lot. So we'll keep
Yeah,
going.
you get all the planning done, you're like, all right, we got the bids ready to go, and then you're like, that's easy.
Now to make sure everybody knows, so.
So the results quickly, watch kids stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I like the communications.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been great. Melanie's done a wonderful job, just kind of keep people involved. And again, it lets people know we've got, just try to stay on top of it, right? There's already people like, well, they're not doing all the solar work. Well, just because they don't know, right? They don't know we're waiting for enforcement to see. So the better communication, that's Chris and Loeb saying, all right, let's get this stuff out there. Make it happen. Anyways, yeah, no worries.
Next up is board president update. I just mentioned the mayor lunch on Wednesday. Big lunch.
Wearing a costume,
I don't know.
my costume's gonna be superintendent.
I close it down, I'll just go as board president.
Superintendent.
Yeah, oh, can I borrow the name? You need it, you need it. No.
I'm gonna do it again. I was.
All right, we'll move on to the students.
So as you guys know, this week is Leadership Week, and the high school has a lot of events to talk about that. So we have the silent disco last weekend for staff. Organized a really cool dance, and that was really helpful. I know a lot of my friends actually had a really good time, so that's really good. And the polar plunge is happening this Wednesday. Jump in. I hope you wear a costume though. If you wear president, you wear a costume.
All right, I'm wearing a Hawaiian one.
The head though.
I always have a ton.
Oh, I should grab that.
Are you jumping?
Should I?
Yeah.
Oh, possibly. Thank you.
Should.
I'll drown though. I
Yes.
don't know.
Oh, you can stand up in it, it's pretty sure.
Oh, really?
It's showing.
Oh man, I was trying to.
Pretty warm on Wednesday.
Lead by example. Got this.
Lead by example. Oh man, well, if you pressure this works successfully, maybe I'll jump back. I'm 90% sure. Okay, yeah, as well as the polar plunge, there's the wheelchair basketball event happening tomorrow, and that's gonna go in part of the assembly. I know a lot of students are excited about that, and the Dexter dance was actually leading into that, so I'm really excited to see what we have, especially after that. So that's really exciting. Moving on to my second update, the Preschool Club has actually ran quite a bit of things over the last week. We ran a sleeper sale, and we were able to raise over $250 to the Deer River watershed. So it's really cool that we can collaborate with the Alley more. And we also just sent out information on an energy audit thanks to Dr. Timmons to the DCS community. So we're hoping to gather a lot of energy usage information for both the school as well as the community. So we can think about ways to improve our energy usage. Hopefully with this collection, presents you guys on how maybe the school also better their energy usage, so that's really fun. And right now we are currently applying for the Michigan Evergreen School Board this week, and that activity is the greatest honor you can get in the state of Michigan. What you have to do with that school board is run over 20 activities, environmental activities within the school district, and go to information on it. And once done, you can start applying for the process. So I'm really excited for that. And my third goal on the Michigan Evergreen School Board, we actually bought it, I think, 2020. I know the president then applied for it, but we didn't apply for it last year. So I'm hoping to try and retain it. Yeah, that would be good. And then the third update is just regarding drama. As you guys know, the Frozen show just finished. No drama, they gotta keep on going. So Hidden production is starting, which is actually really exciting because I haven't seen the music yet. I'll see it this time, so I'll be really fun. And my fourth update is regarding Student Night. So we had Student Night, both Riley and then I heard that went really well. NHS supplied volunteers. I heard that younger students really just enjoyed collaborating with science a little bit more and engaging with it more directly. So those are my updates.
As Dr. Timmons mentioned earlier, there's a lot of new courses being added tonight for students and parents to look at. Plus, I think all the WCC courses are great. It's what you should, especially in health field. I think the debate course, some of them are good. And I've taken the drum course my freshman year. That was really fun. More kids will be able to take that. That's great. Lots of spring sports are starting soon, which is great. And so that's really exciting. Students are also gearing up for test season. Stressful. I'm a junior, so that really applies to me. But we're just getting through it. Last week, Dexter dancing again. They posted their "Bring Your Friend to the Meeting," and I was there, and their videos all over Instagram. Me dancing. I was really bad at it, but it was really fun.
Did you do like the kick and spin?
I tried. It doesn't mean I did it that well, but I mean I tried it. And, there's a lot of videos of me dancing very stiffly on Instagram, but I just thought it was really fun. So, doing a lot of community outreach. That's fun. Speaking of lacrosse, the Dexter varsity men's lacrosse team, we're hosting this clinic next week, which is always really exciting. We're hosting a clinic that's run all my high school players, like all my other athletes and teammates are going to be running this along with Jason Miller, who's like Dexter lacrosse. He does an amazing job, and we're running this clinic all for fundraising for the high school teams. I can afford to put in part. So that's always really exciting. It's fun. Lacrosse kids from the road league, so I'm really looking forward to that. There's a new Dexter men's club volleyball team starting this year. I'm a little sad because it's a spring sport, and I'm pretty tall. I feel like I would love to play men's volleyball if it wasn't in the spring, but it's just really exciting. But I know who's running it, really committed to growing it as a club. I hope even if it stays after graduates next year, but that's really exciting. Last weekend there's a powerlifting class season here at high school. I'm pretty sure we won varsity. It's really cool. It's such a great program. It's really growing in high school. It's one of the fastest growing sports. And it's just really cool to see how much work Coach Whit does a great job just getting kids there and build the program, build the kids strength. Yes.
That's my first girls, yeah. Someone close.
Got to work the super heavyweight. Yeah, I think so. That would have been my weight cuts. Our floor survived. I watched Trevor Jacobs do 500 pounds. I might have done 505. I think it was just 500. Watch Cam Carr get close on 550. He got it up. It's kind of daunting to run up weights. And you have to go a bit more. You're like, wow, I'm strong. Well, the bar was then.
All right, move on to our consent items. Our consent items are typically approved in bulk. We have a retirement and budget. Office Board of Education approved the consent items.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of approving the consent items in bulk or consenting the consent items in bulk, say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Right, it has passed. We'll move on to our action items, of which we don't have any planned. We have them all last meeting. So we'll go on to our discussion items. Do you want to take over?
Sure. We have Sharon Rich, feedback, you good? And then Jerry Brandt's here, talk a little bit about, we get to the senior center. So we're gonna start with the document on the wellness center. So included in the packet is a letter of intent to purchase the Dexter Wellness Center. We did an appraisal, and then worked with our attorneys and then worked with appraisal for the value of the equipment in the wellness center. And we've been working with 5 healthy towns. Currently, the property is listed at 7 million plus the equipment. We only have 8.5. So have a quick handout if you want to look at it. That summarizes what the funding for the whole project looks like. We have 8.5 million from the state, and then the senior center received 700,000 from the county. So this letter of intent is to purchase the wellness center for $5.3 million plus $200,000. I have more, she need more. Plus $200,000 for the equipment, so 5.5 million.
Even if we have twice as much money, that's still the price. Can't hold it first.
Right, we have to work with the
So,
appraisal.
if we're
It
not-
would cost 17 to 20 million to build that building. This is an unbelievable price. It is really a partnership with 5 health towns. Available. They need to get out of mortgage. Mortgage is chewing into their ability to support programming in their 5 healthy towns. It's a foundation, so they have to get out of this mortgage. We are in this process. We are the letter of intent gets us rolling. We still have to do our due diligence on that process of soil testing, environmental testing, etc. So, and this agreement or letter of intent also ties in that there are conditions. If you look at the second to last page, number 15. So we would have to need documents for the dissolution of Dexter Town Center condominium. That we need to have the certificate of occupancy of the Dexter Senior Center, the environmental inspection, etc. I have Sharon Rashke on here. I can put her up on the screen so that anybody has any questions. And have Sharon talk a little bit if you want to ask specific questions. Sharon, can you just say something really quietly? Okay, hold on, I don't have the sound right, that's what I need. Now try it.
Hi, guys.
There we go, all right. So if you have any questions, we have Sharon here. I can turn her so she can see it. She has been working, this has been one of the most complicated, I don't want to say most complicated projects ever worked through, and I think Sharon could attest at this point, we're both of that. We knew this a long time, we're like, this one's awesome, but complex. And it really is, the only way we can get in that 8.5 range is all partnership. And by every partner. So this portion is 5 healthy towns willing to take a significant loss on the property in order to make this possible. Be expected. Sharon, do you want to talk about the condo association dissolution a little bit, or do you want to wait for the senior center?
No, we can talk about that. I have had individual conversations with each owner, except one I haven't been able to track down. And they are all generally very supportive of this. Our attorney is currently drafting what that dissolution agreement is going to look like, but there's all these different pieces that have to come together at the same time, including the land survey that shows what the ultimate split will be, what property, because that unit will actually own the property around them, and then that will be split off from the master parcel, so there will be 2 parcels. left, but it will incorporate that whole parcel. So all those individual pieces that we're working on with the land surveyor, with the engineering firm, with the attorneys, and that should be coming, in draft form sometime in March. And we do need to have that agreed by their board, as well as, they're gonna have their board attorneys look at it also. But we don't anticipate that there's going to be an issue. We've got 6, 7 of them who already have given us an affirmative, supportive, sort of vote.
How many does it take? To vote?
Just a majority.
We did it up with 2 separate associations. Same.
Yes. Yes.
That's what,
Yeah.
in the end, right?
There'll be one that left, the other one will go, big one will go away, right? There'll be one association left with just.
We will have this. That other association.
They'll be their own.
They'll be their own entities, right, that chance. We're not good enough. Right. Share.
Webs and easement agreements, we have a diagram with the senior part. And along with the whole scope of work.
So overall,
Daniel, that association already exists. So there are currently an umbrella association, and then their building, within their building has an association. Their association agreement will just remain, it's the umbrella one that will go away. I'm sorry,
no worries. I was just gonna say, so this looks very much like what we've talked about, what we've been moving towards. Is there anything that you would point out to us to notice that is sort of different than we discussed or thought?
I would say that it's not a linear process. That's the biggest thing. It is a whole bunch of things happening all at once, and some of them have to go in order, some of them don't, but by the end that this goes into effect, a lot of dominoes have to fall in place. It really is a true partnership with 5 Healthy Towns, AR Broward, the city will be partnering along the way here to make some things happen. I mean, it really is the senior center. I mean, it's a lot of people that care about the community and making it happen. When you think about it, looking at the 2 projects together, the full scope. So for an $8.5 million state allocation, 700,000 county, so 9.2 million. We are going to be able to keep a 42,000 square foot building that would cost 17 million to build. And then build a 9,000 square foot senior center and add 7 acres of land for $9.2 million. Which is, that'd be a $25 million project. But it's not coming out of local pocket. It really is, it's a true partnership of resources. And to add resources. And I can't wait to see kids taking the Dexter Wellness Center class at a time when they hit all numbers. And we'll work it out.
So when you're talking about the non-linear process, probably what you're trying to point out to the board is section 15 of this letter, the conditions of precedence and all the things that have to be in play or it's actually a done thing. Sorry, we are dropping legal terms on the side.
I know,
I know, including over here.
you're not, you guys are,
No, Brian and I suck. So
you're our volunteer
every
attorney.
goal set, yeah.
To review the paid attorney's work, which is great, that's what we need to do.
Did you know that?
Our work is cheaper.
This has been quite a project, because the next one's the really nuanced how to make it happen.
On the wellness center. You guys have done great.
Very sorry.
We've done inspection.
We haven't done the, Sharon, we didn't do a formal engineering inspection of any of the equipment. It was, of like the HVAC and things. We have to do this part of the
Correct,
due
yes,
diligence.
we,
Should.
Go ahead, Sharon.
Yep, we have that is part of what we're able to do once we sign that letter of intent and purchase agreement. We do have an inspection period. They're not gonna fix anything that is awry. It's more for our information, so that, we have that documented. The appraisal for the equipment, they did do a formal appraisal, and they have all of that documentation from an outside independent entity on, the age of equipment. Will have all of their capital asset listings of everything that's there. And certainly, we'll wanna, we've been through it a number of times, but not in a more formal, this is our formal inspection.
That's gonna happen. I'm not worried about it. Chip stuff, more like old pumps. Just in case there's something out there that's like, well, probably next week. I guess buying as is, that sounds like, something as is, something crazy. I don't think it's gonna be, but. Start my house.
Sharon, we'll have inspections. We have looked into this. It looks, actually looks better than, like, the pool is better shape. Where our school is. Yeah, but it's newer, 10 years old. Just
Official inspection.
Yeah. Other questions on the wellness? Okay. Second part, talking about the letter of intent for purchase of the newly constructed Dexter Senior Center. Jerry Brand, district volunteer, has been volunteering with the senior center to work on building a new senior center. So we have worked through with our attorneys and with Steve Brower, who owns the land, a process to be able to buy a building, built spec, basically. That's what the letter of intent is for. To meet the needs and the specs of the Dexter Senior Center and work within a really tight budget. So A.R. Brower has put together a plan working with the Dexter Senior Center board to build a building for 9,000 square foot building for $2,851,500 that meets what the senior center would like. So Jerry, including the land.
Yes. Including
So
the
I'm
land.
gonna let Jerry talk and just tell me what slides you want. Sharon, I'll
You're
turn it
starting
to
right where you need to be. So, is this okay if I use a pointer, or would you like me to go up there and hand wave? Pointer's okay, good. All right, so let's take a look at the building that is proposed, and one of the reasons why this process is working efficiently is it's truly a design build process by the developer, who is holding company for A.R. Brown. And they are proposing to develop a building that the senior center described to them. And we've gone through multiple iterations, and right now we're at a near final iteration. The things that will change in this process going forward are minor, incidental. There is a meeting of minds with respect to scope right now and what the project looks like, and somebody volunteered me to be part of that process.
He's built a few buildings.
So this is the primary entrance to the building, and you can see that it has a slight overhang here to protect people entering the building, and the entrance to the kitchen and typical glazing units on the exterior. If you've driven by the pharmacy building or looked at the wellness center, this building's going to look like those buildings. Brick exterior, structural system block, will look and function almost immediately to your eyes. It will look like the one-story version of the pharmacy. Okay, so we come into what is a lounge area, an area for seniors to come in and visit with each other, talk and just generally kibitz around, which is a good thing. And
Point out what they do.
I can't hear you, Dick.
Allow Jerry to
Make sure they know the orientation. No, but where the
He wants to know
road
where
is.
they.
Baker Road, right here.
Baker is here,
Facing the bones.
and the detention basin that exists is down this area. Okay? All right, so let's just take a walk around the building to understand how it functions. From the lounge area, the unisex toileting area is modeled after the Anchor and Beacon toilet model that we worked very hard to develop. And the only difference in this one is that both of these toilets, three, are 4 inches wider than the Anchor Beacon toilets are. Slightly larger people, and the last two are 4 foot wide, designed and optimized for people with walkers. And in addition to that, there is a fully enclosed, fully accessible handicap toilet facility for those people who are in wheelchairs and or may need assistance in toileting. So, it's a very efficient model. We know from our own experience, it actually feels that it works well. And the seniors have adapted it and they're liking it. They like this concept. They like it a lot. It will provide entrances both from the hallway and from the great room directly into the toileting area. Beyond that, as we go in, the first classroom area is what they call their quiet room. It's really mislabeled because it's the loud room in my mind. It's where music and other loud functions. So the walls there will be soundproof to a reasonable extent as a full wall of storage. And this idea of storage was developed after touring 5 different senior centers around the locale. And they saw that at Hamburg and thought, wow, this is great. This is exactly what we want. So we've integrated that both into the quiet room and the classroom on this side. So quite a bit of internal full height storage, doors open. Beyond this quiet room, small mechanical area, a program specialist office, the executive director's office, and a group workspace for staff, both volunteer and part-time staff who participated in the future program of the senior center. Coming back into the main entrance, we have a kitchen area here. We have a small kitchen office that can be used also as an office for Meals on Wheels or whoever the serving contractor is. And as we looked at on the outside of the building, we have a doorway that goes in for the Meals on Wheels kind of delivery.
Why don't you describe the kitchen, function of the kitchen? Kitchen practice.
So the kitchen is actually a warming kitchen. In the 22 years that the senior center has existed, they've had a warming kitchen. We created that when we put it, John Hanson and I ripped all this up and we developed that at that time. I don't think, I'm not aware of any food preparation that has ever occurred there, with the exception of some Christmas cookies and things like that. All of their food preparation has been prepared off-site. And because of that, this is actually what we would call a warming kitchen for snacks or drinks. There will be a concession window here and here. There will be a roll-up type concession window. Will provide access to those who are in the reception area and all those in the great room. And the great room is a really cool space because it'll be open ceiling, and so a higher volume of space. It's a little over 3,000 or under 3,000 square feet, so it's a very healthy size room.
About 800 square feet bigger than this, and another full classroom of this.
And another way of looking at it is that their existing senior center in the old Oakland, now Encore building, is 3,400 square feet plus the hallway, which is really not functional for their uses. So their great room would be almost approaching the size of their entire space right now. The seniors have gone through several iterations. At one point, they were looking for a facility that was over 12,000 square feet. They realized after we got together and Sharon and I have been helping them understand, the development of this building has to fit a certain budget. The available funds are what they are. We've already got a real bargain in place with the multi-generational wellness center. So The remaining funds are what needed to be done, and so they've developed a very efficient facility here that totals 9,054 square feet gross. And it's very attractive, very functional. In addition to that, we are our first, if you will, add alternate to the base bid. I think one of the very first ones would be to develop a 16-foot wide patio, full length of the building, and a screen wall to block off some of the street noise from Baker Road. You know, that's over 1,000 square feet of functional space that the seniors will also be able to do. So it's really efficient and really at least 3 times, not close to 4 times the size of their existing facility. So they're really ecstatic about this opportunity. Can we go to the next slide, please? Are there any questions about the building or the function? Daniel? Pardon me?
Sure, you mentioned this one, but all the hallways and all the doors, wheelchairs, extra wide.
They'll all be 3 foot wide, wheelchair accessible doors. Every one of them. And they will all have a key, which allows the seniors the opportunity to rent the great room, for example, if they choose to. That's a program decision that the senior board has to itself. It's not something you all have to worry about. But you know, it makes this building very, very usable for both seniors and the community if the senior board should like to go that way. They've been talking about that. So I think that will happen. Sharon, do you have any comment about that?
No, yes. Hi, so, there are some of the doors, just so you know, like going into the storage room that are gonna actually be 42 inches wide. As well as you notice the exterior doors coming in will be extra wide as they're moving people in and out and moves in and out. We wanna make sure that they're not just always whacking the door jams and trying to maneuver. So we're being thoughtful about what those are. And then, yeah, the cabinets and any of the storage closets and the offices will all be keyed so that they can be put away. One of the things we learned in Amber when they rented the facilities at night and on the weekend was they felt like they had to come in and do an inventory of things that may have been used or moved. And so we designed that into this whole space. So that all of that, we don't have to try to lock off a certain space and have a bunch of ways in a hallway. But having actual rooms locked that the public would not have, or whoever rented would not have.
The building is a flat roof, much like this building is. So I'll give them some answer in the back, but it's a very efficient building. So that'll give them space in the great room approaching 14 foot in height. And space in all of the rooms that have 2x2 ceiling tile of about 9.6, 9.8 in that range.
Capacity.
Pardon me?
Capacity. Fire building on.
9,000 square feet, not sure.
Yeah, it's 9,054 square feet.
It'd be a couple hundred people capacity.
We don't have the architect's calculation, but it'll be well in excess of 100 people.
With the size of classroom, a couple hundred people.
I would think it would approach that. I don't think it'll exceed 200. This is a very nice elevation of the facing the parking lot, facing the wellness center, showing the public entrance and giving you a very good idea, representation of what the building will look like once fully constructed. I think it's very attractive, and I think it'll be a good long-term asset for Dexter Community Schools and the senior center. There you go. That's where I wanted to be. There was a question about the exterior improvements in the building, and so there will be a new sidewalk. This asphalt is existing. So there'll be new curbs, some asphalt repair that will be affected probably from construction traffic. There's allowance in the proposal to accomplish that. And then the blue and red box indicate the patio and the sizes it may be. And the building itself is outlined as shown. I just want to give you a quick picture of the actual construction work. It's not just the building, it's a little bit of site work from as well. Next slide.
think capacity is based on what we usually.
I think it'll be under 200, pretty sure. Okay, there were questions about the condo dissolution. And this slide I actually just put in there to kind of give you an understanding of how Unit 3, which is the old pharmacy building, will be excluded from the properties owned by Dexter Community Schools, should you elect to go forward with this plan. Unit 1 is the wellness center itself in the old condo association. Unit 2 is the senior center building. And then Unit 3 is the third element of the current condominium. And it will become its own standalone condominium associated, platted as a condo within the county and within the city. The rest of the property will no longer be platted as condominium. It will be platted as school district facility, fully owned and operated by Dexter Schools.
And some of this has to go to the city that's not being.
Right. The easements that you see some notes about around the perimeter of this, that, you know, the things that may have to consider with your civil engineer are things like a right-of-way line, ingress and egress for the remaining condo building into your property. That will be one of those things that is worked out, one of the myriad of details that Chris was talking about earlier. There will also be a storm sewer easement required, so we will take the drainage off of this building and site and store it in the storm sewer. You will own the storm sewer, so you have to grant an easement to allow their fluids to continue to flow through it. And there will be some crosswalk easements that will also be required.
And some shared parking.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was just wondering. Sort of, and also, the maintenance will Unit 3 pay us for having that.
I don't know if we probably won't take care of their.
Right. Right. You're easing parking in this area for them during their overflow periods, but you will not be, they won't be providing any maintenance to you, I wouldn't think, in the agreements that I've read so far. That may be negotiated in the future. Not. Next slide, please.
5.
Yeah. So I want to say to Chris's comment earlier, you really do have a partnership of 4 or 5 entities pulling this together. And one of those entities is A.R. Brower Company. And some of you know that I've been a builder all of my career. I've built many of the buildings here with other teams in Dexter schools and other schools around the state. And so what I did was look at this proposal with the jaundiced eye of building and said to myself, is this complete? Are there any holes in it? Are the things that I need to point out to Dexter Community Schools be prepared to deal with this issue? And I'd like to say to you, there aren't any, or not very many. The holes that exist for reasons that make sense to me, that we've incorporated into our budget. And you know, I really think A.R. Brower is to be commended because this is a very solid proposal. And it gives you, it gives me a lot of confidence to recommend it to you. So briefly, the building proposal includes all of the site development and utilities necessary to, you know, create the building pad, create the pavement structures around the perimeter, and to bring utilities in and out of the building as far as water, sewer, stormwater, those things, and electrical. It does not include things like data, which is something that the senior center will contract themselves, and they're planning to do that. You know, very straightforward. It doesn't cause me any concern, and there's nothing in this, in the allowance, the 2 allowance items that don't seem reasonable to me. I think that $20,000 asphalt pavement allowance is almost exactly what I would have proposed had I been building this building. Landscape allowance is generous. I think you've got a nice solid proposal with respect to site utilities. We move on down for structure. So in addition to foundation, structures include flat work, the exterior, concrete, the masonry, and the structural steel. And, you know, Steve's proposal is very straightforward. He's going to build masonry bearing building, structural steel interior support and roof support. And he's included all the elements that I think are appropriate. The elements are sized reasonably. They all comply with the code as I understand it. And he's taken great effort to try and be clear. You'll go back up just a little bit to the first item, foundations. This is one of the items that he has said, hey, be aware, I'm not certain of this, but the soil is assumed to be of sufficient cohesiveness. In other words, he thinks he's going to trench those foundations before concrete into it. No builder will typically accept the risk of the soil collapse because that's your land, it's not their. So, he's been clear about that. I've discussed that with Sharon, with Chris, and I think that's well prepared for in your contingency for the project to unfold. So again, this is another example of how he's trying to be pretty transparent in putting this proposal together. We can go on to the interiors. So the interiors would include, certainly all of the rough carpentry, the nailers, the interiors, partitions, the setting of hollow door frames and the hanging of doors and the installation of the accessories within the toileting area. It includes the millwork, which are the cabinets, and there are very few, but it does include all of the cabinets that are shown on the plan, mostly in the great room. And it also includes small cabinet surfaces where hand wash sinks are shown. For example, in the two treatment rooms next to the toileting area, there's hand wash sink in each one. So the kinds of things that the senior center knew they would need with respect to their programming are incorporated into his proposal. He's also included a 60 mil adhered roof, which is the standard that Dexter Community Schools uses, that we developed quite some time ago and it's served quite well. And his installation plan for the entire building meets or exceeds the current energy code. So, yeah, solid, straightforward proposal. He's also included the kitchen shutters that we talked about in this proposal, which wasn't even something that was spelled out in the scope of work that I kind of shared with him early and just saw it through, make sure it's in place. So a good example of good cooperation. The glazing is pretty apparent. It's shown in all of the elevations around the building we were looking at earlier. The flooring, as we go into the project, will be polished concrete throughout, and with the exception of the kitchen and the bathroom areas, which will be ceramic tile. And the reason for that is to, A, it's driven by the budget to make sure we stay within our available funds, and B, the senior center really doesn't know how they're going to use each of these spaces completely. And so they're planning to be able to change the flooring in the future if they find the need to do that. I think that's entirely reasonable. And I think for the purposes of managing, to maximize the project scope, this was a good decision on their part. In addition, the ceiling systems will all look a lot like these, except here you see a lip around each piece of grid. That's called a tegular tile. And instead of that kind of lipped down tile, which is attractive, it'll be a flat 2x2 tile. And again, that's trying to optimize cost and also maintaining a 2x2 tile style, which stands up over time, it doesn't sag, it looks great forever. He's included painting all the unpainted surfaces, and the seniors waxed on a lot about wanting to have a fireplace in that front entry, and he's provided a reasonable allowance to accomplish that. Go ahead, toilet accessories we spoke about. Then the building systems are fire protection, plumbing, heating and cooling, or HVAC, and electrical systems. And the systems that he's providing comply with the building code in all material ways and provide them with all of the elements they need to turn switch on and run water and flush toilets and so forth. The building will be fully air conditioned, fully heated with rooftop equipment similar to what we use here at Dexter Schools and other commercial buildings. So if you'll go down to the electrical item, I want to talk a little bit about electrical service. It is a 400 amp service, which, you think about a 9,000 square foot building, 400 amp service in your homes. Many of you probably have a 200 amp service in your home. So it's kind of surprising that 400 amp service will feed that size building, but it makes sense. Certainly complies with code. He has also given us a ad alternate, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, to increase that to allow for some other service that we'll discuss when we talk about the ad alternates. And then the last thing that comes into any building process, things called general conditions. It's the stuff that's necessary to build the building, but doesn't result in bricks and mortar and drywall. Okay, but it's all very, very important in my mind. And his proposal again is pretty straightforward. All the necessary professional services are included within his design build proposal. The typical general conditions to manage the work and make sure that it's conducted safely and so forth are included. He's provided an allowance for the plan review fee, which, as I did the analysis of the Dexter, City of Dexter plan review cost and County of Washington plan review costs, $28,000. It's pretty close. He's also provided an allowance to get gas and electrical to the panel distribution and an allowance for inspection fees for the City of Dexter, who requires that we pay for their professional engineering. He most importantly has included the land cost within this proposal. Now, we talked to you about glittering generalities of cost of buildings. This proposal is about $340 a square foot, if I remember right. A similar building. No, a similar building would cost between $400 and $450 a square foot plus the land. And pretty confident in that. I did that for a living for a long time. So I believe that that really demonstrates to us that Mr. Brower has tried to put forward the best and most cost-efficient proposal that he could. I've looked through that proposal. I've talked to Steve, I've talked to Sharon and Steve together. I think it's a solid job. It's a real nice job. And he's also given us close to a dozen alternates for the seniors to consider and to do additional fundraising to try and enhance the delivery program into the building. First one we talked about already, which was the screen wall going down this. The next one was a potential to widen the patio slightly by changing the configuration of the detention basin. That one's not too heavily desired, but it's been considered. Then the patio along the south side of the building, replacing the storefront glazing on the south elevation with a folding glass door walls not going to be selected. Made that decision since the original request. The additional cabinets that were shown that did not have plumbing in were provided. He also provided a senior center sign fabricated with 8-inch tall aluminum letters. He provided the canopy over the main entrance within his base bid proposal, even though we originally asked for it as an ad alternate, because he said it'll improve the direction finding and protection entry to the building. He did provide a price for Marmoleum, which is the same product that's in the Creekside cafeteria and the base level of Dexter High School's main student wing, and which stands up today with great, it's a great flooring product as an ad alternate. They're also considering rubber flooring, carpeting, other choices. They haven't made up their mind yet about those things. The next item, and I think one that is likely to be accepted, is a 400 amp automatic transfer switch, which would allow the seniors to offer to plan for a generator to support the building. And the next item being below that is the provision of a 60 megawatt, not be a kilowatt, I'm sorry, natural gas generator and a 400 amp ATS fully integrated into the building. They want that very badly, but it's a little bit lower on their priority list. And the reason for that is they hope to offer a warming center for seniors in the event of power outages, or cooling center, conversely, in a hot summertime.
16,000. 7,000.
I'm sorry, Dave.
It's the 16,000 is a part of the 7,000. Not added.
That is correct. So if they can't fundraise adequately to buy the generator now, they're at least trying to do this. Set it different. Another item that they are interested in is potentially providing for 4 EV charging stations at the building because electrical car usage is increasing, which would virtually double what's there now. I think there are 2 stations in the original office area.
Charge.
Right, this is just the infrastructure development. There was an idea about changing the lay-in ceiling and the reception area. That's not, it's going to be too much.
What's all the items?
Pardon?
What's all of them? Add.
Some of them are limited.
Yeah, I think it's a little over $250,000, I recall, but the point is that there are children here, the seniors are deliberating. The senior board will make this selection of these trees, but we wanted to make sure that y'all understood what it is to consider.
And they have some funding.
Yeah, they're continuing to fundraise and source
Right.
other opportunities to fund this. Elise, do you have a question?
Yes, please. I apologize if you said this and I just missed it, but as we were going through, it occurred to me. What type of ventilation system, I mean, considering how much we have learned over the past number of years, and considering the population that will be using this building, was there an effort made to put in sort of a pretty high quality ventilation system?
Yeah, I think this will likely include HEPA filtration within the HVAC system. It's all rooftop ventilation, so you'll see these kinds of structures with forced air systems blowing in and out, and then there'll be some linear, diffusers across the windows to kind of those cold spaces. So it's a commercial, fully developed system, and is equal to or superior to anything that y'all have here in this community schools. Other questions? Yep, we have one more, I think. Is that 6? I think it's 5.
5.
Yeah.
This
So
is
the reason I put this in
Yeah.
was I am not going to take you through this because it's very complex stuff. But the point that Sharon has adopted in her planning is to recognize that this is a multi faceted schedule. There are many things occurring at the same time throughout the course of the development of the project and continuing through the construction of the project. And so what she's tried to do is lay out in her planning all of the elements that she's currently trying to track. And she and I have been working with this tool. It was kind of the first thing we started talking about when we started talking about maybe joining together to help make this project a reality. We need a schedule.
You're talking this project, the entire, not just the senior.
Yes, not just the senior building. This includes all of the elements of, due diligence, legal requirements, construction requirements, architectural, engineering, planning requirements, all of those things that are necessary to make this project come forward in full fruition. And we're continuing to change that schedule routinely. Any schedule is meant to be changed. It just needs to start from someplace. And you can't understand the effect of a change unless you have a planning document like this to work to
the senior funds, this calendar year. It's $5 million.
right. The end of 2026, right? Calendar year. And it's the federal funding.
Yeah.
Is there
So we'll,
calendars
this is
also?
all built to make sure the fund works like it should. One thing that could change the pricing in a good way, hopefully, is for the construction of the senior center building. The current number is $2,851,500. That includes what they are around on the financing costs, but we'll work with partners and see what we can't give any money. Until building, but we can purchase the building, but because there's so many community partners involved, there's not. Any little bit helps, we have $8.5 million plus 700. And only because of all the partnerships, the volunteer time by senior center board, Jerry, the commitment by 5 Healthy Towns. They are for hours committed, making sure this can happen.
The commitment of your superintendent and your former finance, the right business director to support a tremendous amount of effort.
And every relationship we've ever had with any entity or group, because it's a community event. Trying to make it a possibility. I mean, to pull this project off, if we wanted to do this from scratch, 20.
Something we haven't mentioned just.
Well, we haven't talked about the budget at all, Nick, other than stipulate the cost of the project, but right now, Sharon and I are tracking a document together. For her expertise as, financial wizard, my expertise as a builder and planner. And the two of us have developed a master project budget. Sharon's the author of it, and she keeps it updated daily. And what it does is it includes all of the costs of the construction of the building. You saw me walk through. It includes all of the costs necessary to gain outside agencies' approval of that building. It includes a construction contingency. So there are things that we cannot see and cannot count today. We just don't know what they are. And so in all of your projects here at Dexter Community Schools, there's always been a contingency in place because the construction manager was a conservative guy. And we've used that same attitude about trying to plan for the things we can't plan for, including that contingency in this budget. Yeah, this is a living document. Sharon will walk you through a little bit further. Sharon, are you around with us?
I am. Do you want to pull that up?
No, I think if you wanted to talk a little bit further about the intent of the budget as you're planning with it right now.
It's a long, it's.
Yes. It's really color coded with, here's all our revenues, which is two revenues, and here's the various expenses that we know, and ones we know we've got color coded in green, because those are flexible, ones that we're just budgeting for, and then as those, costs become known, we enter into contracts, we're looking at those, and adjusting. Right now, expenses are looking over revenue when we factor in the contingency. We do have a contingency of 10% of the anticipated construction cost of the senior center. And those are decisions that we're making as we walk through and the various costs become known. So it's very unlike the bonds that we're used to, the projects where, here's how much we have to spend, and then, okay, if we're gonna be over, can we come up with money from elsewhere? And there's not really that same flexibility because we have to get these things done within the money that's allowed. There's not if we go over, we'll just do something less on a different bond project, right? So it's a we're teetering at the edge, and with everybody's expertise and cooperation, we think that we can get this done, and seniors aren't getting every single aspect that they want, but they have worked so tremendously cooperatively and frugally on the things that are important to them, and they're out identifying other funding opportunities and donors to be able to do the extra things that they would like to do so that they can do it efficiently. There are already of those alternates, there's a list, I think, of 5 or 6 items on the alternates are gonna go right in, right when Steve says that the city can be approved, because they have already secured outside funding for that outside of these 2 grants. So, it's not like, oh yeah, it's no brainer, this is all gonna be so simple. It's pretty complex.
There's also some things designed so that things they want to be added later.
Sure. You know, for example, the polished concrete floor is totally functional flooring. But, you know, either at the end of the project or a year after the project's complete, they could choose to go in and put, you know, resilient flooring to the grade. Make another choice. So the planning, for the budget is pretty solid.
So is the cost that is it's written somewhere in here, for the senior center, as a district, are we committing to purchasing this building for that cost? Or does that cost, is that a high cost, and if various things happen, lower or different?
I think,
Maybe a little lower.
right, so not to exceed kind of
If
environment.
the,
Okay.
yeah, if the,
I guess I was just trying to understand,
yeah,
so
the
there's a
borrowing
10%
cost goes down.
contingency. Does the school district purchase it for less, or, do you know what I'm saying?
Probably won't be less.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, right now, you know, for example,
Well, that's what I guess that's what I was trying to understand. This letter commits us to this price, and probably people will work hard to make the building.
yeah, it's a not to exceed commitment. It's the way you should
Okay.
value
So if we can save any dollars on any of those allowances or on the financing cost, then we go with the alternate.
So if we get to the end of that.
But, you know, we're not gonna allow the contingency to be put into the project until we're convinced that the risk
Right.
associated with that contingency is less and less and less. And then at that point in time, you know, there will be some discussion about how maybe we can release a portion of the contingency at appropriate time, which is exactly the strategy Dexter Schools has used. in the past month.
So,
I can see this
Not
being a
yet.
community question. so I
It's
just
split down at the end.
Buddy,
so the three items on discussion today are the letter of intent to purchase Welcome Center for 5.3 million plus 200,000 for all the furnishing. The purchase of a finished building for the Dexter Senior Center that Jerry just described with $1 million contingency. You see number 15, additions. And then the third document is hot off the press. We need to adopt the number. It's a resolution that the board would approve for the taking the 8.5 million senior centers, $754,812, and then authorizing Sharon, myself, and the CFO to work through all the documents for the purchase and sale with a total not to exceed. We get to just that right at the second page. It's not great. I added up. You know, there's. Yeah, good. We just got it today. We're going. That's the hardest thing. You saw that 50 point. I mean, we're working with the attorneys. They're getting the exact documentation we needed. Also already worked out with A.R. Brower, worked out with towns. We're making this all kind of go. That's why we set up a discussion today. You know, we have time to fix before we have people done. So we'll adjust that. But then essentially, Sharon, did I describe this correctly?
Yeah, actually, that number that I think is 11 point some million there,
Yeah,
was intentional. So there will be other, for example, we did receive already committed donor funds. If there are other sources of funds that end up coming through, which we are anticipating, they will be part of what we will need the authorization. So for example, say with A.R. Brower, the contract for the base amount will not exceed the 2.85. But there are already alternates that already have donor money to increase and actually commit right now to those additional items that will need to be part of the purchase agreement that we do when we have a purchase agreement, it will be for the 2.851 plus any of the alternates that are funded by outside sources. If we come in under on contingency and we redirect that contingency money to some alternate, that will still come in within that 2.851. But where we will be spending additional resources will be from other funding sources that come forward. So there was an intentional increase in that dollar amount to provide the flexibility for us to be able to be reactive to, yep, we had a meeting with the senior board last week. They have this committed donor money. They've given Steve the go-ahead to include that in the base, not in the base, but in addition to the base contract. But when we sign the contract, because the school will be making those purchases, we do need the flexibility to have all of those other items be secured at the time that it makes sense.
And we'll get you details. For all the numbers there.
Provides flexibility for additional funding without having to redo a resolution.
Right.
And nothing can be spent beyond what's approved, ultimately contracted, which are applied by the large.
We'll bring in more details.
We wanted to get you the most current information we possibly could tonight. Recognizing that we'll bring you some very explicit and firm information through March 4th, if that's the date, isn't it? So give us a couple of weeks and this number will grow down.
A week.
1 week.
Me saying it.
That's right. Today
Let me pull it off here, sure.
26.
We look at this last thing about 11.9, 185. I would like to hold there, that's clarified for it. The donor money, because I get you have to want to push more, get more donor money, it's gonna be price. Well, again, we're funding that we're getting from the state. So that's why I'm kind of.
However, if she didn't give us an explanation tonight, we're looking at this number going, wait, this doesn't add up, and that's what the public is.
Yeah, right.
So we wanna make sure that there's something that says why that number doesn't do the math. There's that, I mean, I have no problem with the planning, but we have to explain.
Yes, we will give
Otherwise it's
you all
shell-shocked.
numbers you can add.
Perfect.
Explanation there, what we're not gonna.
I'm just volunteering, Sharon.
What's the number?
Well, we're gonna add that number we have.
Right
The 11,900,000.
Right now, it's like.
Yeah.
And the seniors, that's the donor money. We'll get you details.
You can have a number in there without it being an authorization to spend it until we have committed.
Right.
Whatever the source is. So it saves some aggravation down the road for them. Jump through the hoops in a short time.
But we owe you the details.
So the question that I have is, okay, let's say that this gets approved, let's say all this stuff happens, how do we envision our students utilize? That's what I really would like to have a kind of an understanding, so, because the school is endeavoring to a big project, right? And the seniors, they need this, we know all of those answers, but how is it gonna benefit the families, the students? Just, brief summary.
Yeah, it's
Doesn't have to be.
work in progress. Work in progress. So the wellness center itself will start to work on some programming, but we need to allow it to be self-sustaining. So we have to strike that fine balance between members that are paying to use it and not doing things in there that will drive members away that are paying. We have to strike that balance. We already do some partnership with the senior center. That was that. The wellness center, we do anticipate being able to work out some student-friendly programming. Down the road, it opens doors. The reality is the center is, I mean, it really is a nice, it's a great asset. And the senior center is a great asset, as it is, but you need a permanent space. We do a lot of programming. Have to strike that down.
there are windows of time within the programming, schedule of a wellness center like this. And we want to provide opportunity perhaps for students to have some access when those programming times are very low level for the normal function of the wellness center as it currently exists. So they're talking about those things right now, but they still have a conversation to get through with the operator and make sure that proposals balance their needs to deliver to you a center that is self-funding, much like the community is self-funding, food services are self-funding. That's the model.
That's fair. They're talking. And that is primarily the community, seniors. Students.
Right.
They don't have.
And it will evolve.
Yeah. And as you discussed, right, as you discussed earlier in the meeting, the Dexter Wellness Center class for the high schoolers would be one option. And then there's also a partnership already with D-Hall and classes and things that they already do existing. They already go come in and that's been a great thing for both entities.
And in the current model that is looking at how to maintain and we really engage. I watch kids go their life after school, but there's ways to create programming. It just has to be purposeful.
Yeah, they're already, because of the proximity of the wellness center to the school campus, there are, the Dexter Wellness Center has more of, I would say, Gen Z and teen presence than perhaps the Chelsea Wellness Center, where there's so much built that up a little bit more. But because Dexter has always been more welcoming, I would say, to and especially because it's so close.
One of the realities, and this is why we run the operator or senior, is it's a really complex project. There's, as we try to look at it, it's non-linear, but the first thing that have to happen is we have to have an intent to purchase building, build the other building, so that work can start. So we can then all the details together. Because it's even working with an operator. So we don't know when we're going to close on the building, so trying to negotiate a contract for an operator, what they're going to do. Right. When are we starting? Sometime in March, April, May.
And to clarify, the operator did.
And then for the seniors, we have to initially put, seniors are going to move into what has been the ATI space and using some of those space while they're building built. If we can get that building started before summer, then we can avoid all the winter costs and wrap it up as quickly as possible. It's easier to build warm weather than that.
Yes, the general conditions number, you want that as small as it can be, so you can put more curriculum.
And get it done in a timely manner. Talking with Mr. Brower, the permitting and things are generally taking as long or longer than building it. So if we can get into the ground in summer, we'll be in good shape by the end of the year. And then we can expand, we can expand program. It does. We just have to get it.
We understand what our operating expenses, this is gonna be in the short term, you said when it becomes sustainable.
Sharon's actually got fairly healthy analysis of that.
Pull up the spreadsheet right now, I can see it.
That being said, later,
They have their complete statement of.
Without.
That being said,
I would imagine it's probably.
that being said, it's a separate document later, the operating costs will be, because that is gonna be the big sum, down the road.
Yeah, Sharon's a very strong proponent of, the model is community ed and food services, self-sustaining. That's what I hear her say, but we're.
Going back to schools.
There's no guarantee, and we have a level of risk. There's a level of
Sure.
risk, and it's not a picture.
That's what it's, I think we need.
To be clear to Mark, when you said the operator will be in the center, we will, what I heard Sharon say the other day, will also be management over the businesses and things, clubs and things. Which means that we do take part in this.
Yeah, you develop the contract that they operate under.
Yeah.
That's your control.
You would be their client.
Sure, do it, man.
And if I can just add, there's two distinct parts to this. So the one is the senior center. And just in the operation that we have this historical, agreement, when the seniors were part of Encore and they were in that building, they provided, their compensation to the school for the utilities. This building will be a little bit different because it will have all of its own metering where, the Copeland didn't have separate metering for that wing. And we just did things on a square foot basis. And I had done that calculation a number of years in my 25 years, and it was like still right on by the time I left and how much they were contributing on a monthly basis. So the seniors will provide all of their own payments for the utilities that happen. They'll do all of their own cleaning in that building, the simple maintenance stuff they'll do. The outside grounds, obviously, we'll be doing snow plowing and things like that, but they want to do gardens that they take care of and take the pride in their whole little center that they have there. So that one is, we've got that precedence. We have, we don't have a signed agreement. We haven't, talked about it, but it's going to be in the spirit of what we have done previously. So that's that part of the maintenance. So when it comes to the wellness center, we have been talking with potential operators. Chris and I have for months, including the current operator of the wellness center. We haven't made any decisions or recommendations at this point. It's too, there's too much more that we want to look at. So, but when we purchase the building, we're going to have to be under some agreement for operation, and we want to keep that as consistent as we can. So we're currently working on it. But right now, there's, and I kind of heard over time, well, we want to guarantee that it's gonna be financially, solvent and never be negative. We don't have that guarantee with our food service program. We don't have it with our child care. We don't have it with our community services program, our community education right now. We believe, based on all the financials that we have gotten, that if it were not for the mortgage, that it financially, it has the revenue covered all of the current operating expenses of that facility. So we are going to take a little bit more time to vet that out better than just jumping into some long-term agreement with the current operator. And that is something that we're working on. And again, we're working on all these things at one time, but we can't have all of the answers right now and today.
Like you said, it's because we've been hearing for a year that if it wasn't for taxes, but the lawsuits, it could obviously rain. Well, there won't be no tax, but there are net, or the possible lease and that stuff. I'm saying that we've been saying here every day, it's not going to be a suck on the school district's operating. I'm just saying that, let's look at the operating costs, really, because we've been saying every day up here, not going to be a drain on education. I know part of education, I get it, we're saying it day in, day out. It's my only concern, all the money, we're doing a great job with that, that's all great, but long term, we start saying, okay, now we got to spend $50,000 this year, $100,000 this year. That is not good. And that will be, well, it's not what I said. I'm moving into it. So I'm positive you're going to get it done, right? I know Sharon, you've done all your homework, but whatever people we get into, they should be self-sustaining.
Yeah, and the point of food service, self-sustaining and for expected to be. And food service is the sole purpose of food service is for kids. Sole purpose is not for kids. That's different. With our other funds, we do pay
administrative fees here in the district, is that, I guess I was assuming that would be the case for this, is that correct?
That is currently. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
That is currently the, discussions that we've had, those are the expectations. I can tell you, just much like when we were first doing a whole new different program with community ed and childcare, and for a year or two, they couldn't provide that 10% back. We did meet with the current owners who provided us with a draft pro forma on what they believe the first year would look like, and they can't get 10% back. But none of the contract that they have right now doesn't mandate that, right? So that's why we need more time to vet that out. And perhaps if the finance committee, wants to sit down in a room and kind of, look at some of those financials, because to just send that out and put stuff in the public domain, that's not our information to put in the public domain, but as part of having discussion about what that looks like, to give the finance committee a little bit more comfort, that, isn't guaranteed, and is it guaranteed that the schools take it over and a bunch of people don't quit? I mean, if it's gonna look completely different, which we don't anticipate it's going to, it's all driven on membership right now, right? So, yeah, there's risks, and, I'm not a magician in a crystal ball. I try to be thorough and diligent in identifying the reality of the situation, so that we can, move forward with some confidence. But, there's no absolute in this. Just like you asked me right now, or ask Christie right now, what the year end is gonna exactly look like. I always say, well, when the audit comes in, that's when I'll tell you what it's gonna look like, right? So there's not a guarantee, and a lot of things could change. Like COVID, we wouldn't have known COVID was gonna happen. It threw community ed and childcare completely negative, and the school ended up having fun. Well, the state came through and gave us operating money, and they now even have a fund balance to be able to operate on. It is just going to be another fund of.
But there are a lot of positive increases in future funding program.
Yeah, the
We
way I
gotta get started first.
The way I've kind of thought about it is, if worst case scenario, this operation is not viable and it closes down, then what can we have? What would be the carrying cost of the property? What would we have to do as a district to cover that? That's kind of expensive for a backstop. I would think a little bit more, it's $200,000. How many classes does that take? We know we have a gym shortage. We know we have a facility shortage for a lot of programs right now. And it seems like there's really interest in additional recreation opportunities. So building a public reliability. Well, you have maintenance, right?
I'm just saying, it's not like we've got I think that part of the problem. Hearing that,
True. But we still do have maintenance costs. So to Dan's point, is it a $50,000?
Is so rough for operating this. Not putting the tax like that kind of stuff. They have employees that work there. I'm looking for some smart Bible. But what the operating costs, what the current ingress of funding from that's really going to that's only two things I care about right now. To see where the balance is.
Where's waterfall building? So
Nobody wants waterfall building. I'm just saying that just to.
the money in a short-term period.
I think, but back to the finance committee, we just get the ingress that's coming in, and the outputs coming out. So that's why I don't want to see that. Now, I'm not looking 20 years down the road. I am looking to see.
And that's doable. That's doable.
That's what's gonna base the.
That's doable. Yep. That's doable.
No, But, yeah. Put on your Gantt chart there, that is.
It might be on there, actually.
Yeah.
Just might be not quite this one. Any other questions for discussion? Trying to keep the meeting focused.
I really appreciate all the work that everyone's doing. I mean, it's just very clear how dedicated everyone is to making this project happen. And I mean, I think from the board standpoint, these questions are important and valid because if they're coming to our brains, they're going to be coming to brains to everyone else who talks to us. So I think making sure that we all feel like we have good answers to them is just.
As soon as they figure it out, so the chance to get answers to them, that's probably all better. Bring it up on that. So, back to the answers.
Thank you, Jerry, for coming and walking us through that.
We covered each other.
Yeah, and sharing as well.
Yeah, actually, when we had the committee meeting last week, Jerry, with the details, that's exactly. Because one of the questions is just what has been the seniors, what do the seniors want? Seniors are designing exactly what
Fire.
They want a fireplace. I got you.
I don't want fire.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thanks, Sharon.
You don't have to come here and laugh on that later.
Oh, well, yeah, I'll be around. All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you,
Sharon.
Bye.
Bye.
So we'll move on to our next opportunity for public participation. Same rules as before, except now we have to do a little of 3 minutes. Each speaker. Anyone would like to come up?
I didn't sheet, I don't know how it works.
Yeah,
I just
no,
wanna
it's
say, I appreciate the questions. Mr. Ellery, I love your question. I'm a member of the Wellness Center and dues have gone up and I'm, oh, do I need to go in town? It's only $40 there. It's twice as much as the Wellness Center. So cost to the members, I think, would be a factor in membership. I know they took a million in COVID. So if there's another pandemic, that's something to look out for. That's all I wanted to say. I appreciate the transparency here and the questions. That does sound like the law of the hard center and the contract fits, I guess. So that would be helpful. It sounds like there's some kind of fixed fee and overruns. Fully understood, but not in favor of your work.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to board comments.
Thank you for all the discussion. I want to give thanks to all. Definitely. But I'd like to, a couple things, I got the, there, it was awesome. It's usually the school, working school. At this point, 3rd out of 4th one I volunteered for. And every time you go there, it's one correspondent, I think, like, and, so stated, we had over 330 of those different schools, with extra margin going on, most of extra boys, and also quite a strong show. What I really like about it, when you play basketball against Chelsea, or basketball against, you got that back and forth, right? Well, rivalry matches, could be anything, could be against matchup, some kind of little negativity, or students against each other. This is a sport where every kid, male, female, is encouraging everybody. You know, you see kids go up to wear different t-shirts at schools, encouraging next kid's bottom for somebody else. And it's not gonna even, no, it's not gonna make the podium at all, but they're motivating. My team's got a PR that they need to blow up, competing this year. different schools encouraging each other versus.
That's about five, it's about available, a whole lot, we should be charging.
Yeah, well, that's 260 emails.
400. Yeah. 100 volunteers to make it run. And the coolest thing is they, like, as Neil said, you have a kid from Grass Lake that weighs 120 pounds, pulling up and doing his lift, and the kids from Dexter, the kids from, everywhere else, Onstead, the kids from Three Rivers, they're all cheering him on the whole time. And they're competing for places, but they're still cheering him on. It is. And it's a lot of weight. Yesterday we got to roll up basketball team like that. I had to see. I've been both Dad and I worked in gyms and schools for a long time. I have no idea how you do that now. So I wondered what those roles were. They've been in a closet forever. I'm like, I have no idea what that is. It never connected. Commencements and everything that we had in the gym, we're putting this stuff down. That's what. Never really thought about it.
That's sadly why that has come to.
And the ladies, the girls, figure it out for basketball.
That's, lost it.
And then, as the swim team is sending several kids to, state meet. I just read this, but there were a lot of really great best times. 9 more state cup times that made it over, the SECs, they reached for. So really exciting for us. And then we had some indoor track. Kids are going to the nationals, in Boston. Yeah, we found that. Boston is coming later.
Then we had Preston.
Yes.
Preston had a great one-to-one state.
Middle school's a third.
Middle school.
Third, and they had 4 children last year, 4, 2 of which were club kids because they didn't have enough kids.
29 this year.
They had 29 in third place. I think they had 15 to 16.
So clearly our community wants wellness.
You too, they do. Good 850 of our 11.
And then on top of that, I know I saw several board members there too, but I went to the high school's production of Frozen Saturday and Sunday, and both matches at 2 p.m. were just sold out because they were that it's very small to that.
That's why we think we should offer more sections.
It was an amazing production, and the Mill Creek production was fantastic. Good source.
But
Yeah.
third or fourth year, I think she's put on for fun.
Any other comments? We have informational, well, listen, talking and talk. We have informational items in the board packet. We don't have a closed session, so therefore I shall adjourn. Ooh, that was loud. I didn't even have the mic on. I know. Don't forget, we'll be back tomorrow night for our workshop. Next week.